Hi, I'm back! Sorry it's been so long since I put up a video. I had some issues. I had my information sheet here with all the info, the data on the summer movies I've been talking about go missing. Luckily I found it. I was worried I was going to have to do all that research all over again. Man, Wikipedia page after Wikipedia page, it just wears you out. But then, of course, there was the 4th of July holiday, and everyone was around. It was not a good time to make a video, and then the internet went out here, and I wasn't able to post any videos from home. But I'm going to make up for it. This week I'm posting 4 videos all this week. One today, one Wednesday, Thursday, and another one on Friday. And so we'll be all caught up at that point. So, if you haven't already seen any of these videos, these are about the summer movie seasons of years past, and I'm asking myself mostly the big question, other people as well, but mostly myself, what is the biggest summer movie ever? The biggest summer movie season? The most impactful, the not only big grossing movies, but also the ones that had the longest cultural effect, I guess you could say. So last time I did 89, but I didn't do the intermediate years. I'm only doing 12 particular summers in total, but I'm doing a little bit of catch-up. I mean a little bit of summary on the ones in between. So I'd like to talk about a few summers that came after 89. In 1990, the 3 biggest summer movies that came out, the highest grossing as far as worldwide grosses go, was Ghost, which got a Best Picture nomination as well. That's kind of unusual. And 2 big action movies, Total Recall and Die Hard 2. Ghost is a movie that I think is really good. It made my top 10 of the year. It's very, very sort of pulls on the heartstrings as well. It's just like something that you really kind of get involved in. And it has a really, really, really good bad guy. Aliens has a really good bad guy as well. Real slimeball named Burke. And Ghost has a really, really hateable villain as well. You know, you just want to see the guy go down so badly. It's great. Die Hard 2 is a very decent movie. Not as good as the first one, of course. Rennie Harlin's the director on that one. But it has its moments. You know, it's fun. Total Recall, probably my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger action movie. You know, it's great as far as the whole situation goes, with him having like one personality or the other, and he can't remember what his life was like beforehand. His whole life is sort of like assembled, plus you have, you know, lots of really good bad guys and lots of really violent, bloody action scenes. It's lots of fun. There was one pretty big disappointment as far as the movies. So, I mean, there's a bunch of movies, of course, that come out every year, but in 1990, probably the biggest disappointment as far as box office goes was Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy was a movie that was directed by and starred Warren Beatty, and it's based on the comic strip, the classic comic strip of the detective who wears a yellow hat and coat, basically. And all the bad guys are cartoonishly ugly, and so they got a bunch of really great actors and stars to play villains in heavy prosthetic makeup. People like Al Pacino and William Forsythe, Dustin Hoffman, James Caan had a little cameo in it. Yeah, some really, really incredible stuff. Also, of course, Madonna's in that movie. She and Warren Beatty, I think, started dating while they were making the movie, which is why he appears in the Truth or Dare documentary for the following year. Glenn Headley, who passed away recently, she was in it as well as Tess Trueheart. Charlie Corsmo, who I'm pretty sure wasn't in Jurassic Park, but he was in Hook, right. I was trying to remember which Spielberg movie he was in. He's like the kid in the movie. His name is the kid. That's his name. Yeah, very visually striking movie. All the colors are only primary colors. There are no blended colors at all in the movie. I admire the movie. I like it a lot. I think it's fun, but it was kind of a disappointment as far as the box office went. So, 1991, I was sort of trying to decide between including this one or 1987, but I sort of came to the conclusion that Terminator 2 was kind of like the movie that summer. And there were other hit movies, of course, but Terminator 2 is just like everything else kind of stood in Terminator 2's shadow, which is why I didn't pick it as a summer to focus on. But it's a massive, massive hit, biggest of the year, groundbreaking visual effects, of course, that won the Oscar. Also, the other two really big summer movies were Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, starring Kevin Costner as Robin Hood, right, and Morgan Freeman and Alan Rickman as the villain, and Hot Shots, the parody movie Hot Shots with Charlie Sheen, kind of a Top Gun parody. Really fun movie. City Slickers was also very, very big. A Billy Crystal comedy. Very, very well-liked movie. And then there was other stuff like Thelma and Louise, which also got a lot of acclaim. And I'm not sure if it was nominated for Best Picture, but there were 2 nominations for Susan Sarandon and Geena Davis for Best Actress, both in the lead actress category, which is kind of unusual. Point Break came out that summer as well with Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze. 2 big, massive failures. Hudson Hawk, very notorious bomb. Bruce Willis, comedy about he's a cat burglar basically. He steals art, he steals precious things, and I don't know. I guess people were just angling for Bruce Willis to take a fall. I don't know why people hate the movie so much. I mean, maybe he's just too smug in the movie and he's just a little bit too smarmy, but it's a fun movie. It's very creative. There are a lot of really great characters in it. The other big one was V.I. Warshawski. V.I. Warshawski is, I think, based on a book series about a female private eye, played by Kathleen Turner. I went to see this movie and it's horribly boring, unfortunately. So no surprise that it turned out to be a failure. 1992, probably my favorite year for movies. I saw a bunch of movies that I just absolutely loved and still love to this day. That summer, the big summer movies were Batman Returns, first sequel with Michael Keaton and Tim Burton, Lethal Weapon 3, which of course is part of the Lethal Weapon series with Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, and Richard Donner directing, and Sister Act. Sister Act was a comedy in which Whoopi Goldberg plays the girlfriend of a gangster. She witnesses a murder, so she decides to hide out in a nunnery and pretend to be a nun, and since she's a singer, she coaches the nuns on their singing, and she ends up bringing a whole bunch of people into the Catholic church she's hiding out of to see the services every week because they like the nuns singing so much. That was sort of the comedy bit. Of course, she doesn't fit in at all, but people start to really like her. So that was a big hit as well. What else came out that summer? A League of Their Own, very, very popular movie, still to this day, very, very well liked. The women's baseball league in World War II, when all the men were off fighting overseas, they formed women's baseball leagues. It's based on a true story, but I'm sure most of the characters, if not all of them, are fictional. But one that I've liked for a very long time. Single White Female with a Bridget Fonda, Jennifer Jason Leigh, kind of, a stalker thriller. Not really a stalker thriller, but more like, you meet someone, they appear to be friendly, but then they turn out to, have bad intentions and ruin your life. Unforgiven, the Best Picture winner that year, Unforgiven. One of my favorite movies of all time. Clint Eastwood directed it and starred in it, of course. Morgan Freeman, Gene Hackman are in it as well. Terrific movie that came out that summer. And the big disaster that year was Alien 3, David Fincher's first film as a director, feature film as a director. Went way over budget, and a lot of people just were not happy with the movie in the end. It's the one where Sigourney Weaver has a shaved head because she's on a prison planet with lots of lice, and so she shaves her head, and stylish, to be sure, very stylish movie, but also, not nearly living up to the bar set by the first couple Alien movies. So disappointing. So that's 1990, 1991, 92, and the next video that I do will be focusing on the summer of 1993, but before I get to that, I want to catch you up a little bit on what I've been seeing over the past couple weeks. I saw Jurassic World, the sequel, and I saw Jurassic World, the first one, like right beforehand. Literally, when I shut off the video, I then basically ran out of the house and went to catch a showing of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And I actually liked Jurassic World more than I thought I would. I went to see it in the theater, but it was one of those theaters where you can basically have beers delivered right to your seat. So in the second half of the movie, I had to go to the bathroom really bad, and I missed the bit about Chris Pratt riding a motorcycle with the raptors running alongside him, hunting down the Indominus Rex. which I can't believe I actually remember the name of that dinosaur. I don't know why I did that, because I haven't even, I haven't really kept up with the series that much. A lot of people like the first Jurassic World was a massive success. So I watched it and I thought, hey, it was better than I expected. Then I went to see Fallen Kingdom, which I was actually looking forward to, and that turned out to be not so great. The first half of the movie I liked a lot, where they're on the island and they have to save dinosaurs from the volcano. That's exciting. There's a whole extended sequence where they actually are trying to get off the island while the lava is blowing up all over the place and threatening everybody on it, including the dinosaurs and the humans. The second half of the movie actually takes place in a really big house, a mansion, and it's kind of ridiculous. It goes on forever. I couldn't wait for the movie to be over, and a funny coincidence, I actually really had to go to the bathroom during the second half of this movie too, and so it just seemed to drag on forever. There's a dinosaur that is actually hunting down a little girl in the second half of the movie, despite the fact that there are humans everywhere that are bigger than her and would probably make for a more satisfying meal. Also get to see a guy's arm get chewed off in a PG-13 movie. I didn't think that they did that anymore. Thought that PG-13 couldn't be that bloody, but I guess, PG-13 movies get away with all kinds of violence now. Anyway, I didn't like the movie very much at all. What I did like quite a bit was I got caught up on a couple of movies that were released weeks earlier, but I didn't get around to seeing it. One was Hereditary, the horror movie, which I thought was really good and very sinister. There's a real thing with people getting their heads removed in this thing like that. There's a lot of heads that get removed in this movie. And the other movie that I was kind of like, I'm not sure if I want to go see it, but I'm kind of interested in what have you, was Adrift. Adrift is based on a true story. Shailene Woodley plays a young woman who meets a guy in Tahiti, and then they are basically hired to sail rich couples' boat back to San Francisco, but they get caught up in a storm, and it's sort of a survival tale. No, it's exactly a survival tale, sorry. And I'm really glad I went to see it, because I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good. It's kind of done in a style that really appeals to me, with the time jumping back and forth, before the storm, after the storm, before the storm, like that. I enjoy that very much. I enjoy the whole look of the movie. Shailene Woodley and Sam Claflin are the main characters. They're really good. I thought it was kind of funny that the two of them are co-stars, because she's in the Divergent movies and he's in the Hunger Game movies, and now they're working together. So it's like meeting of the franchises, kind of. But I liked it a lot. And this past Saturday, of course, I saw Ant-Man and the Wasp, which was lots of fun. I enjoyed it very much, and I was wondering about the mid-credit scene and what would happen, and I sort of guessed right about what would happen in that, and I'm like, oh good, they're covering that. I read about a surprise character popping up in the movie, and and after the movie I was like, nope, no, it wasn't a surprise. There wasn't, everybody who I expected to be in the movie was in it. There weren't any surprise actors or characters or anything like that from other Marvel movies. So I don't know what that was all about. I think it was just basically a misleading article title, I guess. I don't know. But before I saw Ant-Man, last week I caught up with a couple of Netflix movies, one of which was called Anon. That is a science fiction movie by Andrew Niccol, who also did In Time with Justin Timberlake and Amanda Seyfried. And Amanda Seyfried's in this movie too. She plays a woman who's only known as Anon, as in anonymous. In this future, everyone basically is tracked everywhere they go, and their memories from what they see and hear are recorded, and police can basically look at what you see and hear throughout your day, and it can be evidence against you if you've committed a crime. So she's someone that actually edits people's visual memory to cover up crimes that they've committed. That's how it works. Clive Owen is the main character. He's a detective. And I like the idea behind the movie. I like the concept. But unfortunately, many scenes involve characters just kind of sitting around, staring off into space, as in their mind they're looking through other people's memories. And there's no real18that this relies upon. Apparently it's all just internalized in people's heads, which is never really explained. And they never really explained the whole chronometer in the forearms and In Time either. I really don't like In Time at all. I think it's a pretty bad movie. One of the worst movies from that year. So, unfortunately, that's disappointing. But the other sci-fi movie that I saw was much better on Netflix, and that's called The Discovery. It's directed by Charlie McDowell, who, if I'm not mistaken, directed the Sam Rockwell movie Moon. But I'm probably wrong about that. I'm probably confusing him with Duncan Jones. Duncan Jones is the director of No, I'm sure Duncan Jones did Moon, because then he went on to do the one with Jake Gyllenhaal on the train. What was that called again? Source Code, right, Source Code. Charlie McDowell directed a different science fiction movie earlier. I just can't remember what it is. Sorry, I apologize. The Discovery is about a scientist played by Robert Redford who has acquired scientific evidence of the afterlife. He's actually recorded the movement of a soul or some sort of life energy leaving the body and going to some other place. And so then people start killing themselves all over the world because now they know that there's an afterlife. There's somewhere to go after their lives apparently are very disappointing. They don't want to stick around anymore, and so they go on to the next place, supposedly. But not enough research has been done about exactly where these souls are going and what they're experiencing after their lives, and so Robert Redford's still trying to figure that out for the benefit of everyone, because he feels really responsible, really guilty about so many people killing themselves after he has made his discovery public. He's not really the main character, though. The main characters are Jason Segel, who plays his son, who kind of disagrees with his work, and Rooney Mara, who is a young woman who he meets, and she ends up coming to the facility where Robert Redford works to live there. And there's this really kind of strange, bizarre thing that unfolds at the end that makes you sort of question everything that you saw earlier, you know, kind of like Jacob's Ladder, where you suddenly are given a new perspective of everything that happens. Not really like The Sixth Sense, more like Jacob's Ladder. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I've seen over the past couple weeks since I made my last video. Tomorrow, I will be making my video about the summer of 1993 and all the big stuff that happened then. I hope you'll tune in for that. And then, of course, more videos on Thursday and Friday. Thank you for watching, everyone. I'll see you again real soon. Oh, Facebook. Below. My Facebook. You know, if you're into that kind of thing. Later.